What's up, everybody, and welcome to tonight's RotoWire Live Expert Draft, hosted by our friends at Sleeper. We've got a fun show planned with guests all across the RotoWire universe, so keep it tuned here for the next hour. I'll be your host, Kevin O'Brien, and I'm joined this evening by my esteemed colleagues, Joe Bartle and Lauren Jump. Joe, go ahead and give us one piece of fantasy advice to kick things off.
I feel this is so formal. I love this. Let's go. I mean, this is an important draft. We're all going to test our theories out, right, as we are entering draft season. 2 running backs, 2 receivers. This is full point PPR. So in this circumstance, I play in a lot of friends and family leagues that are typically like this. You would assume, and maybe that's the proverb here, what the assumption means, you would assume that it should be running backs that would be premium heavy in this point, and then receivers a little bit faded down. I don't know what my rest of my colleagues will do, but I'm very interested to find out.
Awesome. And then, Lauren, what is one thing you're looking forward to this evening?
I cannot wait to be at the turn. I'm pick 10 in this draft, and I've yet to have a turn pick all season, so I really can't wait to get there. Hopefully I get some good ones.
Fantastic. All right, like Joe said, going to be 10-team PPR league, 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 wideouts, a flex, kicker, team defense, and 1 bench spot. And we know most of the leagues have more than one, but, interest of time here, and that'll still make sure everybody gets off their favorite sleeper. And with that, let's go ahead and welcome to the stage RotoWire's partnership editor, John McKechnie. John, you're actually right on the clock here. How's it going for you this evening?
Going well, guys. Thanks for having me on. And, I figure why don't we just go ahead and do this pick live?
Yes.
Fire this one in. Give me Bijan at 3. Happy to have him.
Bijan Robinson.
That's a good one. All right.
Where do you have Bijan on your board, John?
I think for me, I'm kind of agnostic between either Chase, Gibbs, or Bijan with the third pick. Any of them that get to me at that stage, I'm happy to have. But feet to the fire right there with both Gibbs and Bijan being on the board. I did end up leaning with Bijan Robinson. So we'll see if I made the right call there. I'm confident in both of them, extremely obviously confident in both of them this year. But, want to get that one right between those two, but ended up going with Bijan.
John, I'll ask you this. It kicked off a bit of a running back run. You had Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Barkley go in the first for the next 5 picks. Is there a preference in your mind? Like if we were saying, all right, I have pick 6 and I will have one of these guys left, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Bijan typically goes first. Is there a preference in your mind, or is it really just Bijan number 1 all the way among these elite running backs in the first round?
Yeah, I kind of feel like one of the recurring themes this year is I want to be picking on one of the ends, and I kind of prefer to be picking near the top. I don't really like the middle too much this year, and I feel like we've seen some odd movement in the middle. People kind of cooled off on Justin Jefferson briefly while he was dealing with that hamstring injury. I think people cooled a little bit on Puka Nacua with Matthew Stafford sitting out of practice, so that pushed up some guys into the first round that didn't feel quite as good about. So it's been kind of an odd fluctuation here as far as the first round is concerned. But to get back to your original question, as far as like those other elite running backs that go there in the first, I got to say, and maybe this is too much leaning on groupthink here, but I'm scared on Saquon. I'm scared of taking him in the first round with a really high draft pick. I think that there's just so much usage from last year. It's really hard to kind of replicate that 2 years in a row. And I don't think people are even drafting him to replicate it all the way exactly. But, I think even getting like to 80% of what he did last year is going to be a challenge.
What are your thoughts on that, Lauren, as an Eagles fan?
Well, I agree. Obviously, I don't want that to be the case. I have Barkley in a lot of leagues, but, I have to just hope for the best here on that. And, of course, here we go. Nick Whalen stealing Malik Neighbors from me. Shouldn't be surprised. So let me see who I'm going to take here.
It's fine. I told you you're supposed to fade receivers when it's 2 receiver, 2 running backs, and a flex. This is not a receiver premium league.
I get one of each, so this is my favorite way to do it.
Well, he didn't steal anything from you in this instance. That's what I'm saying. Like, have confidence with this.
I don't know. It's Nick, you know what I mean? Let's see. All right. I mean, if CMC falls to me technically at 2, then I'm going to take him. Which
Yeah,
I mean,
John, I can vouch too for. I know this is a later pick in a 10 team, but in a 12 team with that 8th pick, I didn't love that pick at all right there, Ashton Jeanty. I think he'll be fine. But staring at that group of players right there is not a fun time.
No. I think Jeanty. There's obviously a lot to like about him as a prospect. Such a monster from the last couple of years at Boise State, and we think that we're close to needing to take the Raiders seriously. I don't know if this will be the year exactly, but I think you weigh out some of those other options, and I think McCaffrey projects just a little bit better this year, and maybe some of those other wide receivers, particularly in this scoring format, are guys that would have considered a little bit before Jeanty. So Jeanty at 1.8, I think, was something that we saw like right after the NFL draft, but I think in most spots, we're seeing him go more like 15, 16 overall. So a bit early, but hey, I respect anyone that's saying that the Rook is going to go, and get it done this year.
You teed me off on this for Mountain West. I just heard those 2 words, and I think the automatic conversation next has to be Jakori Krosky Merritt, who, God help us, John, if he ends up going the next 20 or so picks, because we have literally lost the plot if that's the case. But you are the most qualified to go ahead and answer this question among all of us as both a college football expert and somebody who's analyzing the ADP and watching what happens at the NFL. What is happening with this Jakori Krosky Merritt hype? Because I don't recall a time in my 10 years at RotoWire where it has been this hot of a 2-week stretch and this unconscious of decision-making process, it seems.
Oh, it's like a complete runaway freight train for a guy who, I think college production is a super important part of a guy's prospect profile.
You think?
It's not really there in JCM's case. I mean, I think he's a really, really fun story. I think if we got the hype going on him and, if someone leapt up and got him in like the 14th round or something, I'd be like, you know what? I understand that you're drawing your line and you're going for it. But we're seeing him we're pushing him close to a top 100 pick overall now for a guy that just really, it's all kind of just based on vibes. I think to kind of pull a phrase from our guy Mario, people are just drafting on vibes. It's just well, they did get rid of Brian Robinson, and that is true. But Austin Eckler, I feel like, is the real kind of beneficiary here. I think that JCM and Chris Rodriguez are going to, kind of split the rushing work, and Eckler just kind of has a monopoly on the third down there. So this has been very interesting to follow along in JCM's case, but I have not been the person engineering that particular hype train, not at all.
Fantastic, John. Well, so also you do coordinate RotoWire's betting content. So before we say goodbye here, what's your favorite bet for the season?
Let's see. What have I plunked down on the most?
Too many bets. This is the first world problem that John seems to have. I like the flex.
All my multiple $5 bets on various things. Let's see. I do have I'm just going to say it. Being a homer, I have a lot plunked down on the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I think this is the year they get it done. Just saying.
All right. Well, that's perfect. We will see you in Lambeau in a few months then, John. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, way to jinx your favorite team, John. Way to go.
There it is.
You're not supposed to do that. Has anyone taught you? Come on.
No,
all right, John. Well, thanks. And have a good night, my friend.
All right. Much appreciated, guys. Thanks for having me on. Enjoy the rest of this game.
Yeah.
All right. We're about 2 rounds in here, folks. We do have no shortage of guests tonight. So next up,
we got some good people. I'm excited. Ooh,
next up is RotoWire contributor Jason Altrell. How's it going, Jason?
Doing well. Pleasure to be here. How are you guys feeling?
We're good. This is
I said a jump scare that I thought Micah Parsons actually did get traded to the Eagles, which would have made Lauren happy, but thank God that didn't actually occur. So thanks, Philly Mike, for scaring the bejeebers out of me. That was not fun.
As Packer fans, Joe, we don't need to be seeing that right now.
That would be something.
Don't put that in the ether. There's no way he would trade him in the division, but I did not want to see that right now. That was not going to be good.
That's true. All right, Jason. Well, interesting start to your draft there. I love Devin Achane. How do you feel about things?
I feel pretty fantastic. I've got both these players at lower than what I have them in my own rankings. I've actually got CeeDee Lamb right now, number 3 on my rankings for this season, and then Devon Achane at 13. So both of those kind of fell right into my lap for me. I understand that Achane's going through that injury, and we're all excited about that Ollie Gordon hype, but same kind of story last year. Everyone just stashing Jalen Wright, and Devon Achane misses a practice. Oh, he's maybe got a concussion, and guess what? Still plays 17 games. Still an incredibly explosive running back. I'm going to take the chance there at the middle of the second on that running back for sure.
There was a bit of a run with those running backs that you sort of kicked off because Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, Jonathan Taylor, which is a normal ADP kind of concession. Was there an idea that I was hoping to get, or you were hoping to get one of them coming back, or here's HN, the clear one of that tier that you want to make sure you at least locked in for the rest of your lineup?
Yeah, HN to me is kind of the last running back in my second tier. Jonathan Taylor I have up there as well, but I kind of wasn't expecting him to fall back to me. I'll go ahead and, tip my hat a little bit. I'm kind of just hoping for another wide receiver here.
Nice, Jason. Well, you mentioned Gordon, and I noticed too that you covered the Super Bowl, or excuse me, Super Bowl, I guess, and Senior Bowl earlier this year. So, have you been on Gordon before the rest of us?
I will say, so every year after the Senior Bowl, and shout out to Cody Carpentier and the Roster Watch guys, he kind of took me under his wing a few years ago and put together like this all offense of the Senior Bowl, and he does a full team, but I just did an all offense. And I actually put Ollie Gordon on that list this year. He was my second favorite running back at this year's Super Bowl or Senior Bowl. I was also at the Super Bowl. You caught me there. Second favorite running back at the Senior Bowl. And that draft capital, I'm not going to lie, though, kind of it brought me back down to earth. Because if we go back a couple seasons ago again, right, this was a guy who was projecting to maybe even be a first-round draft pick if he actually did come out of the college, and then unfortunately went back and just didn't have quite the same year and has lost a lot of steam because of that. But he's still a physical specimen, and what's working in his benefit here on the Dolphins is all those running backs are undersized. So at his size, he does kind of fit in really well, especially with Jalen Wright now continuously picking up injuries of his own.
Definitely. All right. First quarterback off the board.
Here we go. Oh, McKechnie coming in hot with Josh Allen, I see. Okay. All right. Jason, what are your thoughts on early quarterbacks? Do you like to stay away, or will you dip into that?
I always preach, really wait for that value to fall to you. But I am not a middle round drafter myself. I always love to pick at the end. And so anytime I find myself here, I'm always staring like I am right now at a player like Lamar Jackson. And I don't think I can say no to a player like Lamar Jackson.
Look at that. Spoken into existence.
I kind of agree with the take right before it came on. I like the Ravens making and potentially winning the Super Bowl. This just feels like a year where they've put the chips in. They've brought Derrick Henry back. Lamar Jackson's hitting a stride. So I like it. That's a fun one, and I'll follow suit and take him here in the third.
I think it makes sense. We're 2 for 2 on guests that don't like being in the middle and are having to kind of deal with the ramifications of it. John getting us the good spot at number 3 of that. But conventionally, I think in your friends and family leagues, you'll see Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson go, if not around the spot, just a smidge afterwards. So I think it makes sense. And if we are experts, and this always irritates me in the community when we don't actually reflect what happens in the leagues that people choose to draft, this makes sense, especially in a league like this where it's not 6 points per passing touchdown. The rushing premium that Allen Lamar gives you, I'm all on board. Is there, in your mind, for the quarterback tier, because I think this is a conversation we have often, is it 4 with Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts add to that mix, or is it 2 and 2 with Josh Allen and Lamar above this group, and then Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels if you want to throw Burrow into that mix as well? Like, how do you have the tiers of these elite quarterbacks kind of separated?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question and something I thought a great deal about. And Jaden Daniels, I think, showed a lot last year to put himself honestly in that same tier, because the only thing going against him is kind of the same thing that Lamar Jackson faced early in his career, is his size. Can he be durable? And we saw it last year. They've shored up the offensive line a little bit. They've brought in Deebo Samuel. They just extended Terry McLaurin. So I see no reason why Jaden Daniels shouldn't be up in that tier with the rest of them.
See, you might be ruining my plan. I'm hoping. Lauren's listening. She's keyed in on, what can we do in the 3-4 turn here? Don't follow him, Lauren. It's fine. It's just do your own thing. Don't be influenced. It's okay.
All right, Jason. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to part ways now, so enjoy the rest of your evening, sir.
Yeah, y'all have a wonderful evening as well. I hope to take home this draft, and good luck with the rest of it.
All right, thank you so much. All right, guys. Well, next, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our friend Kelly Singh.
Yeah.
Just in 1 second here, Kelly. There you are. Good to see you, Kelly.
Hi. I need to be honest. I have no idea what was happening. I thought we were going to be like Brady Bunch screen, everybody. And I'm like, oh my God, Lauren. I can't be there right at the minute, but I'll be drafting. So anyway.
Perfect. I'm so glad to see you. You've been so busy, Kelly. She just got back from Vegas.
10 days.
Fun. Yeah, that's
10 days?
That's a lot.
Congrats to making it.
I feel like our yearly work trip there, which is like 3-ish days, is too long sometimes. I'm like,
yep. Too long.
Yeah. Well, I hope you had a good time.
It was a great time. I was hosting a women's fantasy football event at Circa, so it was a great time.
Very good. I love it.
And then my daughter turned 21 on Monday and joined me. So it was
what a great place to go ahead and have that happen. Hold on. So like Lauren's lost the plot here. We need to let Lauren make her picks, but we'll go with this, Kelly, to start your draft. It's been interesting. I feel like we've kind of more or less followed status quo, but you possibly were the one to shake things up in the first round, taking Derrick Henry not just ahead of Ashton Jeanty, where we'll sometimes see, but also over Saquon Barkley as well too. Thank you for that. Is the idea that here Derrick Henry is just Mr. Old Reliable, and once again we're falling to this old trap where we don't value the older players?
I think so. He still has steam in the engine, and man, the guy's a beast. He's the king, right? I would definitely take him. I've gone back and forth because I have drafted Saquon first, but let's shake it up, like you said. Definitely over McCaffrey. I know, Lauren. I don't know about that.
Oh, I mean, it's hard to say. You know, it's like they're gonna be really good or really bad.
Who are we referring to? Who on?
McCaffrey.
Okay.
Because everybody's, well, not everybody. Lauren's not gun shy. He's like hurt our feelings so many times.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard. But he just had a baby, so I think he's gonna be a little extra motivated too. That's just my 2 cents, but we'll see.
The really impactful fantasy analysis that we need. McCaffrey has
right.
A child to encourage him on. This is perfect.
Coach says he's back in 2023 form. And so those two things together, it's all I need to hear.
Yes.
Yeah,
the San Francisco 49ers would never lie about McCaffrey's status
2,500
whatsoever. They wouldn't be disingenuous.
Incoming, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've never been like a huge fan of drafting rookies in the first round, so that's why I didn't really go with Jeanty. Who knows what's going to happen in Vegas this year?
I'm with you, though, Kelly. I think Henry's still got a big season in the tank. He's just not like every other aging running back, given his size.
Yeah, I like him. I think your draft looks pretty good so far, Kelly.
I like it. I'm varying it up. If there were more flex spots, you would see me drafting more tight ends. However, Lauren took Kittle. If Kittle was still on the board, I would have probably taken him next, and he would have been in my flex spot. I loved the conversation about the quarterbacks because I'm in the exact same boat. If Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson are available to me, it might be the second or third round, but I'm going to take one of them. And if not, which they're not anymore, as much as I love Jaden Daniels, I'm definitely going to wait. I have queued up several quarterbacks that I'll be more than happy to take much, much later.
Fantastic. Me too. And then I guess, Kelly, just, before we sign you off here, you've written some articles for RotoWire lately that are geared toward beginning fantasy players. And we assume there are a few people tuning in tonight that are in the beginner category. So what's one main tip you would give someone who's starting fantasy football this year?
Oh, gosh. I think I would say first, find your people, find your tribe, find your community. and soak it all in, because we never stop learning. Even if we're here as the experts, I feel like I'm learning something new every day. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's what your community is there for. And just have fun. I know that's so cliche, but it's supposed to be fun. And if we can't make it fun, then we're doing something wrong.
Absolutely.
I'm with you on that.
We're all about fun. So good job, Kelly.
Yeah, I think it was Lauren who said you can't spell fantasy football without fun. So
That was me.
we're all on the same track there.
That's true. I still owe Lauren a chat. We have an article coming up, the 4th in the series of 4.
Yeah. All right. We'll chat. Let's chat tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Not right now.
We'll DM you on the
We
side.
would love to. We would love to. But
All right. Thanks for
All right.
having me.
yeah, hey Kelly. I will take care of your guy Clayton Tune up here too in Green Bay.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I'm mayor of Toontown. It's a plaque.
Oh, okay.
Amazing
I
stuff.
didn't know it's that serious.
It
All right,
was.
Kelly.
It's that serious.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
Kelly.
Bye.
All right, folks.
Hey,
Next
woohoo.
up, the legend, RotoWire content creator Jagger May. How's it going, Jagger?
It's fantastic. It is a Wednesday night. I am eating overnight oats and I am drafting. Like, what else? What else should you be doing on a Wednesday night?
It's the best time of year.
We can't do much better. So this is where I'm going to tee you up here. I was waiting to make this pick because I wanted to discuss what are our thoughts on combining a quarterback with a receiver from the same team as I just did with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins.
I'm all about it. It's something that I may consider doing. Well, that's not happening now.
Stop.
That is no longer an option.
Mind reader wiped out. No chance for you.
Man.
So let me think this through a second.
Hey, there's no clock, so hey,
Yeah, but I'm all for it. Even, and I know, especially depending on what your skill level is on stacking and dynasty, that's not something that you can really do. But even in redraft, even in something that's like 10 team like this, I am all for it for the simple fact that it what's called plus estimated value, and you want to maximize your chance and guarantee your wins every week. So if Jalen Hurts is going to have that big game, AJ Brown is probably going to have that big game as well. And especially if you have tiebreakers and stuff like that, it just helps you in the end instead of wishing you had AJ Brown points on your roster. So especially in 10-man, all for it if that's the strategy you can do, but don't go out of your way to reach like you're playing underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I've billed myself, Jagger, as an eternal pessimist. Wisconsin sports has just made me to be that way. So whenever you talk about the positive scenarios of stacking A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, I think about all the different ways in which it could go wrong. Namely, hey, what happens if a defense stops the entire Eagles offense? Now I've effectively lost my week because I have 2 of my top 4 or 5 picks invested in an offense that didn't do well. Now, you when you're stacking, it's like the Bengals, for example, theoretically, there isn't a scenario where Cincinnati's offense is bad because you're going to need them to be effective each and every week, or they're just not going to win football games. But there's a conversation of being risk adverse and being aggressive, and I think you could combine this conversation with Christian McCaffrey, or as we were talking about earlier with Saquon Barkley, who fell all the way number 7 or whatever it is because of the 482 touches from last year. How do you manage in redraft leagues, not dynasty? You don't have to cheap out with that answer. In redraft leagues, how do you manage being aggressive and trying to win things, but also not taking on too much risk with your rosters?
I'm actually the wrong one to ask this because I'm big on risk it for the biscuit.
That's the perfect answer.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. Is it you want to go all in? You want to try to be number 1. It's like your first or your last in fantasy football, and it's when you're trying to be safe and in the middle is when I found myself getting in trouble. It's just like, well, I know this guy's going to get me 10 points. Well, that one week we really need 20 points. That guy's never going to give it to you. Like you need to embrace variance in fantasy.
Okay, so we talked about stacking with receivers and quarterbacks. Now I'm curious on your thoughts with handcuffing as well. I mean, that's another way we kind of stack players sometimes, but do you think handcuffing your running backs is a good idea, or do you try to get someone else's handcuff on your team?
I don't try to get handcuffs is where like occasionally you will, but I try to think of it as, do they offer me standalone value? Like I'll think of someone later down the board, like Braylon Allen, who might give me standalone value. Trey Benson, probably a handcuff. He may give me standalone value, and I want him. Whereas like if I'm going to get, let's use on the board, Saquon Barkley, I'm not targeting Will Shipley. Because let's put it this way, if Saquon Barkley goes down, I just don't believe that Will Shipley is going to be the savior in the middle of the night that's going to fix my roster. I just think they're just going to throw a lot more to their other star players. So that's how I try to think of it, because some of those rules and constrictions some people place on themselves is just that. It's just, you're just handcuffing yourself, I think, to a certain strategy.
All right, so we're almost through 4 rounds. John McKechnie is asleep at the wheel once more. He was just a terrific guest and wanted to make sure he gave everyone lots of other time to go ahead and answer the questions. But we're through 4 rounds, and again, it's a 10-round draft. We're more or less just going through the motions with this and looking at, from a roster build, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex starting. Is there one that you think, from a team perspective, looks better than the other? Because we've now seen almost all of the quarterbacks go in the middle of the first-round selections there. Not first round, but like first-round pickers. Like, we're going to see a dichotomy here, what happens at the end of drafts as opposed to the middle. So is there one roster build that you like right now more than the other?
I like Team 8 with Ashton Jeanty, Brian Thomas, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow.
Well, you're just complimenting Kevin just because he's on, right? I mean, that's clearly what's happening.
I'll give credit where it's due, I guess. It's just that Jeanty, even though I don't have a lot of Jeanty, I tend to go wide receiver first. Let's put it this way. If this was a mock of just Jaggers mocking against each other, if you swapped Brian Thomas Jr. and Ashton Jeanty, that's probably how I draft from that slot.
Can I pay for that feature? That's got to be a RotoWire setting at some point. I can just draft against all Jaggers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just you trust me, you'll be able to get all the running backs, because I never draft them that early very often. So, but I just like yours because you have, that brings me to my point. If I do it, it's like getting Jahmyr Gibbs, getting Jeanty. You have your hero running back, and then I'm just hammering upside. Whereas Brian Thomas Jr., T. Higgins, those are guys who can be the wide receiver 1 any week at a time. And then you have them with Joe Burrow. The Bengals are bad, guys. They're bad. So having Joe Burrow is probably a good little safety blanket there.
So as Travion Henderson, there it is. I mean, other than Jakori Krosky Merritt, which Jagger, you're well familiar with the dynasty community. If there has not been one other guy that's been buzzed up more, it's been Travion Henderson off of just 2 preseason touchdowns, and he goes in the 4 or 5 turn. That's what I mean. Like this is what happens when you're drafting August 27th as opposed to August 1st, where he was going 2 or 3 rounds later, which is nuts.
Yeah, I remember. I'm old enough to remember Travion Henderson RV3 prices.
Yes, yes. I have documented best ball shares that would say this actually happened. This is going to be like one of those back in time sort of things. You look at a history book. No, you could actually get Travion Henderson RB3. That was possible way back in the day, a month ago.
Yep. Like as a 0 RB guy, I was just giggling. I'm like, ooh, I got Travion and Amari in Hampton. And then now I'm like trying to go in with that same strategy here down and later. And I'm like, oh, I'm in danger because there's none of the guys I'm depending on. And really, I don't feel like the running back dead zone has built itself until now. Like now, anyone who we know is good is kind of at the top. And then you've got I'm sorry if you drafted Brian Robinson 2 weeks ago, that stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, so to switch course a little bit here, someone who I've been on the last few weeks, and now let's see, what happens here going forward is Xavier Worthy going with the first pick of round 5. Mm-hmm. So Lauren, I guess let's start with you. What do you think about the Chiefs players, namely, maybe Rice and Mahomes and Worthy, kind of looking ahead this season?
I mean, Rice obviously is a more complicated situation. I'm sure he'll end up being great when he's back and ready to be there. I think Mahomes is going to ball out. I think Kelsey's going to ball out. I think Xavier Worthy could be good. The Chiefs are definitely going to be in it to win it this year. I mean, they always are, but I don't know. The Taylor Swift effect is definitely very real, and there's no way Travis Kelce is not going to get a bunch of touchdowns and just have a good season with all the spotlight on him right now. So that's just my 2 cents. I'm not a Swiftie or anything, but I do see the extra motivation there for them.
I'll jump
look
in.
good in that tux. That's going to be on the internet forever. No more showing up chubby, bro.
I saw the TikToks. Lauren, you probably know more about the TikToks than me. I saw the forest of Taylor's mind. What is the hidden meaning behind Travis proposing where he did? No.
That I don't know that much.
So there you go. Okay, we'll have to bring my wife because she clearly knew way more about the situation than I did. It's like, this is a pretty picture.
Yeah.
I'm with you on Kelce, though. I know he's probably going to be a polarizing guy for fantasy players this year. He's, his stats have clearly declined, but might have a little extra motivation, and especially, I'm not trying to take him too high or anything, but I think there's just a comfort or a safety, and if you're not getting those top tight ends, at least getting someone you can toss in there every week and not have to worry about streaming all the time. He's going to have, I think, a really high floor. And, hey, maybe a little extra motivation too. And if the Chiefs do maybe take the top off the defense a little bit more, maybe we could see one more renaissance season out of him.
Well, do you know how many touchdowns he got last year? I mean, this sounds crazy, but does anyone know?
4?
Is it less than 10? I'm sure it is.
Right between those two, he had 3 touchdowns. I mean, that is not a lot. And, I mean, probably not hard to pass that this year, in my opinion. So.
That's
absolutely. Fair. And maybe a receiving yardage total around 1985.
That's 89. Come on, dude.
Oh yeah, that's right. No Swifties in this room.
I know, Lauren. I know nothing about Taylor Swift besides everything.
I was born in 1989 too, so I'm the same age as these losers. Okay, come on, guys.
I didn't say the right word. Of course, I didn't know myself there. All right. So much for the flat joke.
I laughed. I gave you kudos. It's fine.
I'm glad you guys knew what I was going for there.
Of the nearly 1,000 people watching, Kevin, at least 4 laughed. So you made 4 other people's lives better.
Drop a comment. Tell us if you laughed or not.
Yes, we need some more support in the comments. So yeah, please razz me. Give me some songs to listen to or whatever. I'll learn. I'll do better. All right. Well, so Jagger, we're running out of time here a little bit here. Do you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom to pass along to the fantasy community?
Yeah, guys, this is a big draft weekend. Stay sober than your friends. Like it is like that's my big advice. It's like, I can't tell you not to drink, but like be more sober than your friends and it will help you. That's your goal.
That is gold. Be more sober. That is good. I will
just
keep that in
so
mind.
you guys watching can prepare. I've been calling this now for the past couple of weeks. The AC factor on the RotoWire mock draft app tool, either on the App Store or using the website. We have, I think, a degree of variance that is possibly different than other different mock draft tools out there that you can find, which is good. I think it prepares for the AC factor or alcohol consumed in the draft. So to Jagger's point, using our mock draft tool as a way to gauge how drunk some of your other league mates get or beverages consumed. That's fine. I don't know what we want to say it. I think that's an important part of this too. So use the AC factor of the RotoWire mock draft tool and it'll help you.
Yep. That's a good plug, man. I love it.
I mean, draft assistant too. Come on. If you do happen to get drunk by mistake, you can use the draft assistant. It'll help you decide who to pick next.
Drunk by mistake.
No problem.
Wow, look what that turned into. You guys sold that so well.
But don't drink and draft, I think, is the takeaway here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Or wait till like round 12.
Well,
Yeah,
we're very
you're
fun.
drunk.
In case everyone can tell, we're very fun. Yes.
All right, Jagger. Well, thanks so much for joining us this evening. You guys can all see him plenty on the RotoWire socials, content creator doing it in front and behind the scenes too. So thank you so much, Jagger, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Have fun, guys.
All right. All right. Next up, please welcome to the stage RotoWire senior baseball editor James Anderson, the first picker in this draft here. How's it going, James?
Hi.
It's going great, guys. Thanks for having me and any Taylor Swift references will go over my head. So
Perfect.
As it is for us, the panel here, but more importantly, I think for the viewers of this, you took Henderson, who is the preseason guy outside of JCM, Jakori Krosky Merritt, over Amari Hampton, who 2 weeks ago was the preseason guy as well, too. So we all know that you love the rookie guys, whether it be the NBA drafts that you and I do. You always snipe me on a million of them. Of course, the prospects that you cover for baseball. But it seems like it's now carried over to the NFL. So Henderson over Hampton, is this hype, or have you been really in on Henderson even back to Ohio State?
There's definitely a lot of hype seeping in on this pick. I took Chase Brown as my established running back, and I looked at the available running backs coming back, and I just wanted to go for someone that had a chance of finishing the year as an RB1, even though he might not start the year as an RB1. I feel like you have to hit on one of those sort of upside RBs, and picking at the turns is tough. You don't know which guys are going to make it back, and I just looked at the available running backs, and I thought Henderson was a cut above for me just from an upside standpoint, and that's definitely like how I like to draft, especially in a 10-team league.
Joe, I love that you brought up the prospects there, because in addition to being baseball editor, James is also our lead prospect analyst. Just put out a new top 400 yesterday. So for those of you in fantasy baseball, maybe little bit of help this year and a lot of help next year, so go check that out. So James, though, seeing as you drafted Henderson there, and Xavier Worthy, also another very intriguing, let's call it prospect, who are maybe some of your other favorite youngsters that you're targeting in this year's drafts, rookies or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, it's a young man's game, and so I really like Baishal Tootin. It's a fun name, but
congrats on getting the name right too.
Also, a player with upside. Like I said, I mean, it's not the type of thing where you're going to be getting. You don't want to be relying on Tootin in round or in weeks, 1 through 4, 1 through 6, but it's that whole idea of getting a guy that's peaking for those fantasy playoffs, becoming, an RB1 or at least like a high end RB2 for those fantasy playoffs. So. Just trying to get as many rookie running backs that are also affordable. And, it's not all about just having guys that can perform in those first couple of weeks. You need that guys to backfill in the second half of the season.
We did an interview. I guess I did an interview with James White on the Money Down podcast. Great one to go ahead and watch after you on YouTube, after you listen to the RotoWire Fantasy Football podcast, which you do Monday through Friday, anywhere you listen to podcasts. I had asked James White, given he was like a multi-time Super Bowl winner, obviously one of the best pass catching backs in recent memory, and I think created that position. What should we be looking for among other rookie prospects? And he was saying a guy like Trayvon Henderson, who he drafted to, but also mentioned a few other candidates and the ability, not just from a pass blocking perspective, but also do for the trust within the offense itself. So Baishal Tootin was one of those guys we discussed. Again, I thought that was a really kind of cool insight that he brought to that perspective, which you can see on the RotoWire social media channels as well. And obviously in the Money Down podcast too, which James White and company did a great job with. From a roster build perspective, you talked about at the turns being really tough. Lauren is seeing that firsthand. She's already been grinding about her roster or whining, whatever you want to call it. The Jamar Chase, number 1 overall, that's been one we always assumed, right? Did you have any second thoughts on it? Did you want to go running back instead? What was your overall plan with the first overall selection?
Yeah, I mean, I never get Chase. I don't have him in. I play in a couple keeper leagues. I've never had him in any of those, and so I just felt like this was my one shot. I don't play in that many leagues, so it was a pretty easy call. The one guy I might have gone with is Jahmyr Gibbs. I just think he's the best fantasy back pound for pound, but he might lose out on some goal line work, and I think the Bengals offense is going to be the best offense in the league this year, so I didn't mind doubling up with Chase Brown there in the third as well with Chase.
Love that, James. I'm on team Jahmyr Gibbs is the real RB1 as well. So,
all right. I support that.
All right. Well, James, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and till next time, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Happy draft.
All right. Where are we at here?
All right. We got Lauren up. I'm going to introduce I'm going to bring on our next guest. In the meantime, Brandon Kravitz, RotoWire contributor. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. It's a lot of fun. This starts a nice 5-day run where there's a draft every day. So a great way to kick it off with you guys.
Love that. Very fun
Fantastic.
weekend
Well,
ahead.
the first thing I'm going to have you do is analyze the 2 picks Lauren is about to make right here.
Okay.
All right, let's see where we're at. I love the way your team started, by the way. A big Amon-Ra guy, CMC, still believer. JSN is probably my most drafted player at this point, and Kittle should gobble up all the targets. So you're off to a phenomenal start.
Love it.
Brandon, do you mean that you would draft Christian McCaffrey because he had a son? Because that was the analysis Lauren gave us.
He had a daughter, actually. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said child, yes, but you're right. Thank you for correcting me. You have proven that you're more of a Christian McCaffrey fanboy than I am. I apologize.
As a dad to a 5-year-old myself, I think it has made me a better human overall. I don't know if it's made
better
me
football
more...
player.
Hey, I have a 5-year-old too. I didn't know that. That's great. See, this is why we're so good at fantasy.
Exactly. It helps you.
Is that the threshold to be good at fantasy? You need to have a 5-year-old. Okay, so in one more year,
It
I'll be
teaches you how to
set.
multitask. I think it makes you a better person. It certainly doesn't make you a better athlete. I mean, the dad bod is setting in.
But it could make them better athletes because they're watching so many games at once every Sunday.
I think it just in a somewhat real sense, I think it helps you just sort of get your priorities in order. It makes you a more functional human being. You know exactly what you need to be doing at every moment of every day. And these guys are pretty meticulous with their time anyway. And kids just kind of like make you more meticulous about the other things you do. Because if you don't make time for that, then you won't have time for anything. I hope that made sense.
It's great. And plus, if you wake up in the middle of the night when they're not sleeping, you can do your waiver wire ads then, and it's perfect.
Right.
The first one there.
Well, exactly. Yeah. When we were doing the bottle feeding years ago, that was definitely helpful. You get the 3 a.m. gems.
Yep. First one to it. So hey, I think honestly that's a really good strategy to win your leagues. It's just wake up at the crack of dawn. Yep.
Just have a baby.
All right,
we're pushing some different political agendas here that I'm not sure I'm comfortable with doing. All right, well, how did you feel about your team thus far? Because we're almost through 5 rounds, 6 rounds at this point. My math is tough when we have the screen so small, but I feel like we have seen the exact positives of a 10-team league in which, my goodness, there's a lot of depth that happens. I play in 12-team, 14-team, and I'm in a sicko 16-team league. Like, it's fun to actually like the players you're drafting into round 5 and 6. So where are you at with your roster?
Yeah, I don't hate anybody yet, which is usually by now I'm like begrudgingly drafting somebody. That has not happened yet. I'm pretty happy with the way things started. My number 2 overall is Justin Jefferson. I would have gone Chase number 1 like pretty much everybody else on the planet, but Justin Jefferson to me is a stone cold lock at number 2. He's quarterback proof at this point, and there's a chance that he actually gets an upgrade with JJ McCarthy. So with that being a Justin Jefferson season where he actually has more potential upside, I'm all in on that. And then to get Bucky Irving and Jonathan Taylor go back-to-back in rounds 2 and 3 and solidify that running back position. I have both of those guys as top 8 running backs for me, so I was more than happy to start my team with those 3. Where I feel like I screwed up, I gambled a little bit, is the Garrett Wilson pick in round 4 because I wanted Wilson. I got a little greedy. I wanted Travion Henderson on the way back. He was the very next pick off the board. So in hindsight, I was happy with the other receivers that were available. Should have gone Henderson there since I'm bullish on him, and then taken the wide receiver that was available, like a Cortland Sutton in round 5. Instead, I went Wilson in the 4th round, came back around, took the other rookie running back that I've just sort of. It's not that I don't like Omarion Hampton with the Chargers. This preseason has just done nothing for me. And you don't want to overrate what you see in the preseason, but for the rookies, I feel like it matters. It's our first look at these guys in NFL pads and NFL helmets. And Omarion Hampton just really didn't do much to wow us, especially in the same way that Henderson did. It looks like he's ready to take that New England running back room and just sort of take that position over. And I'm almost on the clock again, so this is great.
Do you guys
ever
ever make a pick and just instantly regret it?
No, I'm a
That's what
professional. I use the
I'd
draft
say.
assistant tool, Kevin, so I never have issues with that with RotoWire. So
I've done so many mock drafts that I would never be.
I love everything that I have been drafting thus far.
I talked myself into Sam Laporta after making that pick right there.
I was ecstatic as somebody that was desperately hoping DK Metcalf would fall. I think Nick Whalen did me a solid as well, letting my guy fall to me because he could have taken Metcalf over Adams and certainly Metcalf over Sutton. So thank you, Kevin, for making my A+ draft grade happen on the RotoWire Draft Assistant tool, because this is a A+ draft thus far. I'm thrilled with what's happening.
Amazing. Wow. Good job.
I'm usually not the guy that runs up to the draft board. You know, we all love when we have the drafts that have stickers. Unfortunately, most of them now don't.
Oh.
But I'm never the guy that goes up, I guess I need to take such and such, or I know this is a reach, but ... You ever hear that one?
Yeah.
I never do that, but I do regret after the fact. And like the Henderson situation is exactly what happens all the time, where I go, okay, I know I want this player, and then I get greedy rather than just taking them. I see if I can get them in the next round, and then I end up kicking myself for about 4 rounds after that. And that's usually the draft regret I end up with.
Yeah.
I'm on the clock right now too.
It's hard because, like, if once you're in 5, 6, 7, 8 more leagues than that, then I'm trying this year to mix up my teams a little bit.
Wait, you all aren't in 18 leagues like I am?
No, I am, but I'm trying to mix up the
thought
players.
that's what we were supposed to do.
The same team over and over again, right? Unless it's the most perfect.
You have to be committed to the bid all the way through, Lauren. Either you're going to have eternal glory.
I'm doing different builds. Like, I'm trying to do, I'm mostly waiting on quarterbacks, but a few leagues I'll take them early. You got to just switch it up a little bit, have some variance, I think. So.
What a treat. 5 people on the stream at once.
What's going on, guys?
The
Nick
captain of
Whalen.
Jaguar Nation is here with us. So what do we owe the pleasure?
Hey, I was more impressed with the Timber Rattlers hat, personally.
Hey, thank you, man. I got a surprising amount of compliments on that in Vegas over the weekend. People know the T-Rats, man.
Well, it's Jesus Mate time. That's all it is.
It's Jesus Mate time. Wiz Khalifa wore it in a music video once. I think that really helped us out.
It really resonated.
But what's going on here, guys? I know you were talking about. Do you ever make a draft pick and instantly regret it? My answer is yes. It happens all the time. I took Jakobi Meyers over Ricky Pearsall in a draft a couple of weeks ago. I feel horrible about that. Felt horrible at the time. It looks even worse now.
Yeah, you aren't kidding. Jalen
Well,
Waddle.
you could end up, if he ends up in the right spot, you might end up feeling better about Myers.
What about no spot? What about him just?
I don't think he's getting
racing
traded
on the bench.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna be on the bench, but the appeal with Jakobi Meyers, the reason I've been on Jakobi Meyers Island is there was really only one other option, and that was Brock Bowers. And Bowers, of course, had this unbelievable rookie year. He's commanding a ton of targets. Myers still finished as a top 25 receiver. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask you guys, Joe. I'm sure you have an Amari Cooper take that you've been baking. I mean, are you doing anything with Cooper? Are you grabbing him late in drafts? Are you kind of treating this like a Keenan Allen situation?
No. Lower than what's lower than Keenan Allen's situation? Non-existent, baking in the sun, not doing anything. Like I would be sooner assumed Amari Cooper is as fantasy relevant as he was with the Bills in the latter half of last season, which was 0. And there were so many people saying, "Oh my God, this Bills offense is gonna be so great. Amari Cooper's now on." It's like, no. It's not how it works. Historically, receivers traded midseason outside of Emmanuel Sanders have done zilch for the team. And I don't know if that's just because Amari Cooper has completely fallen off, but I still am of the opinion the Raiders offense under Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll will not have volume. And we disagree on this, Nick, which is fine, but I would sooner assume that the Raiders will be lower in terms of offensive tempo and snaps and plays run than what people might assume the 2014 Chip Kelly Eagles might have done. Like this is a slower paced offense. Their defense isn't very good. To protect that from a football perspective, you just have to call less plays, or at least try to mitigate the time difference of it. And I don't think Amari Cooper makes up for that. I don't think Jakobi Meyers does. In my mind, this is a bad defense, bad offense that will try to win 7 games by just stalling out opponents.
Does that push you even more toward Ashton Jeanty then?
Yes. Okay. Yes, despite every single person on this call this entire 45 minutes now disliking Ashton Jeanty, taking Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey because he had a son all over like the Ashton Jeanty stuff. I am steadfast with the idea that volume is king, as my guy Jim Coventry would say, and most importantly, it does not matter how bad the offensive line is. If Jeanty's getting 25 touches a game compared to Trayvon Henderson's 13 or Martin Hampton's 16, you're going to win out over the course of a full fantasy season. So that's why Jeanty, in my mind, is well worth a late first-round selection.
Sounds a lot better than being on Jakobi Meyers Island.
Yeah. Property value is down significantly over the last couple of days here. There was a boom, for a little bit during the summer. And I'm looking to offload that real estate.
He is available right now, and I'm on the clock, but I think I'll leave him. I think I'm going to leave him for Nick.
Yeah.
The question then becomes, because 10-team leagues are so different in the way that you build. I think you don't have to go the route of I'm just going to punt a position, because you can pretty much take somebody inside of your top 10 at every position. So like right now, by this point in the draft, I would usually look at tight end and just say, I'll just deal with that later. In a 10-team league, I'm much more likely to take that position now, because I've got 3 running backs and 3 wide receivers. It's just, how much depth does one person need? So this is the pickle I find myself in, is I would not be looking at quarterback or tight end based on who's available in a typical draft, but in a 10-team league, I'm more likely to go there in that direction.
You actually have to take a quarterback or a tight end here, because
my God, that's right. We're only doing 10 rounds. This is the best advice. I'm sure somebody's already given it on this stream. Make sure you know your league rules before you draft.
The shallowest league of all time, man.
Don't auto draft and know your league rules.
Okay. All right. Well, then TJ Hawkinson, welcome to the show.
All right. Now we're gonna get interesting. Now that people are gonna be locked in here on certain things.
I need Nick's thoughts, because I think Lauren didn't realize that she might have completely triggered Nick on this by the George Kittle on the turn selection. Yeah. Did you break a computer or two, because that ruined your 100% exposure to George Kittle this year when Lauren sniped him 1 pick before you?
Yeah, I had a decision to make there. I thought about going, 3 receivers. Jackson Smith-Njigba would have been the pick. So Lauren really took both guys that I were hoping would be there.
Well, I went with Malik Neighbors, so whatever. It's fine.
Well, yeah, fair. I was happy to get Neighbors at 9, but I was not necessarily planning to go running back. But again, with this being a really shallow league, I don't love that next group. Trevion Henderson would be the exception, but I didn't really feel like taking him at 3-9, and knew that he wouldn't be coming back to me, all the way in round 5. But yeah, to go back to Kittle, I certainly thought about it, Joe. You have to think about it. If he had been there with my pick in round 4. 4-2, I would have taken him. I just, we talk a lot about Ricky Pearsall kind of falling his way into this wide receiver 1 job in San Francisco. And, part of it, of course, is he has earned it. He's got the draft capital, whatever. But I think George Kittle is the number 1 true pass catcher for the 49ers. So I really have no trouble pushing him up closer, a little bit behind Bowers, a little bit behind Trey McBride. I think those guys are rightfully going 1-2, but for a long time, and we didn't see it in this draft, of course, but in a lot of drafts, especially a month ago, you would see, maybe 2 rounds before you would have Kittle come off the board after Trey McBride. George Kittle was right there in terms of per game production with Bowers and McBride last season. Obviously, he's older. You do worry about the injuries. He does have a history, but I think he belongs in that upper tier.
Great stuff, Nick. All right, so we're going to have to say goodbye to our friend Brandon here in a second. Brandon, are we going to see you doing any more underdog videos anytime soon?
Tomorrow morning would be a great time for it. So make sure you're plugged into all the RotoWire channels. And, starting now, I think starting tomorrow, I haven't quite made a decision yet officially, but I think I'm going to tilt the way of college football for the underdog picks tomorrow. I'll have one on Saturday as well that will definitely be college football based, with our first college football Saturday of the season. So excited to dig into all of that.
Fantastic, my friend. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining this evening, Brandon, and we will see you tomorrow morning on social media.
Happy drafting.
All right. All right, folks. Well, hey, Lauren, as the social media manager, is this the time to maybe plug some of our other outlets here?
Obviously follow us at RotoWire on all of our platforms, on X, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere else. And if you subscribe to RotoWire using Social15 as the promo code, you will get 15% off. So that's a pretty good deal. There's still time to get the Draft Kit app in time for this weekend. If you're drafting, it's honestly super helpful. We have the draft assistant. There's some mock draft simulator on there if you want to do some mocks before you, just to practice, cheat sheets, rankings, all that good stuff. So check it out.
The AC factor, I will continue to pound the table on this. There's a degree of variance that no other mock draft platform provides. If you need to replicate your drunk league mates, the AC Factor for the RotoWire mock draft tool does a fantastic job of doing that. Just make sure we understand. Oh, that's it. Nick got sniped again. Travis Hunter.
Yes! I have no
Travis
interest.
Hunter.
I have no interest in Travis Hunter.
Oh, come on, Jake's guy.
Oh, you don't like
No,
cornerbacks?
dude, if anything, I fade Jaguars. All right, that's been a big part of having some modicum of fantasy success in my life. Is that ever since I infamously bought Leonard Fournette for like $58 in the RotoWire Stake League, and then left the league the year after, I've avoided Jaguars at all costs.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I know Joe's a fan of a certain Jaguars quarterback.
Well, I did write about Trevor Lawrence on the WaiverWire article, but there's a reason why it's the WaiverWire article that he's still somehow only rostered in 40% of leagues. I do think Trevor Lawrence is a pretty good week 1 start if you need to at quarterback over the Panthers. And I know that people are going to point to J.C. Horn being back, Derek Brown being back. This defense for Carolina can't nearly be as bad as they were last year, but they can still be bad. And I think Trevor Lawrence in particular could be one of those guys who could start still if you are in the Justin Fields against the Steelers category, or Caleb Williams, or even Jared Goff against my and Kevin's Packers. Like I think if we're on the fence on that, Trevor Lawrence is a better matchup over a lot of folks. And if you are of the belief, like all the Dynasty bros out there, we have almost 1,200 people watching. I would imagine a lot of them sleeper folks. You guys are definitely Dynasty bros. If you think Travis Hunter is as good as everyone in Dynasty community seems to think, then Trevor Lawrence almost has to be a top 12 quarterback in week 1. So yes, I am a fan from a waiver wire perspective, Kevin. I don't want to be attributed to that kind of schmuck otherwise.
I do actually kind of like the Jaguars this year for fantasy with Liam Cohen there. It's going to be a toss-up in the backfield, obviously. But, there's been I know it's kind of maybe resolving itself now, but, that whole, Neighbors, Nakua, St. Brown, kind of a lot of questions there. Like, Thomas is young and healthy and just dominated last year. So I'm in on him for sure, and we'll see where Tank Bigsby goes. I don't think I have space for him anymore.
You took too many.
I don't know if you should go in this.
Are we taking kickers and defense?
We are taking kickers and defense because I did want to touch on a little bit of strategy there too. Okay, eventually,
well, I will not be taking one of those. So.
You'll get them.
I'm not a pick.
I believe you have to.
Yeah, it'll force you. I can't take a receiver, even though I love.
You don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I need a quarterback still.
Lauren,
somebody messed up the settings here.
The rule breaker.
I desperately love my Chris Olave. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to let Nick get Ricky Pearsall because then he would just tease me about it the whole time. So for everyone listening, I would rather have Olave over Pearsall. This was just deliberate sabotage on Nick.
I don't even know if I would have been able to take Pearsall. I already have 4 receivers, right? This was not something I accounted for. I guess I technically did when you go 4 receivers in the first 6 rounds, but flex spot is filled, guys. Pearsall was not an option, but happy with Mahomes, happy with my guy Evan Ingram here, former Jag. We wish him well in Denver, and I think he's going to eat in Denver. I mean, obviously you got a better running game for the Broncos this season, but not a whole lot behind Cortland Sutton in that wide receiver room. I think there's a reason they went out and got Ingram.
I'm with you on that one.
So Nick, I have a question for you. So we're at this part of the draft. So right now in our specific draft, it looks like we're towards the end, but this is really the middle for a lot of drafts, right? So, and especially depending if it's 12 teams or whatever. So talk about some of these players right here. This is where a lot of people get tripped up. We see Cooper Kupp, we see Jerry Jeudy, Roma Dunze. These are hard players to kind of decide between. So what are you really looking at seeing this group of players to know if they're going to be boom or bust?
Yeah, it's interesting. Jeff Erickson and I were talking about this on the RotoWire Fantasy Football podcast. Not a plug, just this actually did happen yesterday. And Jeff kind of labeled it the mini dead zone for wide receivers, where you get to this point and there's like a red flag for everybody, right? And looking at the wide receivers available now, Calvin Ridley, the red flag is he plays for the Tennessee Titans. Jerry Jeudy plays for the Browns. Chris Olave plays for the Saints and has concussion issues. Roma Dunze is somebody I'm coming around on. I think, of the group that we've mentioned, he's the guy that I would click on first. We've talked plenty about Jacoby Myers, Deebo Samuel. There was a little bit of Deebo Samuel optimism for a while there. And then now with Terry McLaurin back, that's subsided. Jordan Addison, he's next on the list. He's suspended 3 games. He's basically dealing with a rookie quarterback. And Stephon Diggs kind of rounds out that tier. I'm willing to roll the dice on Stephon Diggs because I think if the Patriots do hit, they have an advantageous schedule. You have a good young quarterback. If you think the Patriots are going to win 9 or 10 games, I don't see them doing that without a fairly big year for Stephon Diggs. But really, to answer your question, Lauren, I want to make it to this zone And if I need a receiver, I don't want to feel like, all right, I have to absolutely nail this pick. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that, that's almost more of a luxury spot, or it's a flex type of receiver. Like I don't want to be taking in a 3-receiver league, a guy that I feel like I have to be starting every single week.
Yeah, makes sense. Very good.
All right, I got to get out of here, guys. I got to go finish mowing my lawn, and I need to watch some Milwaukee Brewers. So thank you guys for organizing this. Thanks for having me. Good luck the rest of the way.
I'm jealous of that Brewers watching, Nick. I'll catch you
1-0,
soon,
baby.
man.
1-0. Nick Bowers.
Happy over day. Over 83.5 day.
Oh, yes. All right, later, guys.
Later.
Yeah. Unpopular opinion, but they're kind of hot a little too early, don't you think? Just to get hot like this closer to the playoffs.
Is that the Phillies fan talking or a knowledgeable
I'm a
baseball
Dodgers
fan? Because you
fan.
are both.
Dodgers fan.
Dodgers, let's go.
Dodgers. Oh, okay. Well, that's even dumber. Gotcha. All right, cool. Can we answer Ethan's question real quick here in the chat? Would you trade Kyron Williams and Olave for Chase Brown and Rashee Rice? Of course, Rashee Rice suspended the first 6 games of the season. That was important. There was some thought that Rashee Rice would be suspended in the middle of the year and theoretically miss almost the lead up to the fantasy playoffs to get there. That the suspension is only occurring now, I think is important. So I think the way that my co-host on the Monday podcast, Jake Latarski, and I would answer this, who is getting the best player? And from a dynasty perspective, right now, the answer is Chase Brown, which I'm not sure I necessarily buy, but you are selling Chase Brown as highest. Rashee Rice at the lowest that he'll probably be from a dynasty part of this. If this is redraft, and Ethan, tell me otherwise, this is probably a different conversation. But I think the idea would be Chase Brown and Rashee Rice, and that you'll be able to make up the difference on some waiver wire targets. Again, you can look at the RotoWire.com site. I forget what the code is, Lauren. What is the code for the subscription?
Social 15.
Social 15. So you go ahead and plug that in. You go to RotoWire. You read my article. Read it 5 more times over to make sure my clicks go up a little bit higher. And then also look at the receivers that are out there, like Adam Thielen, like Jalen Coker, like Isaac Tesla, if we really wanted to go that direction. Those are deeper league answers, but all those guys, for a reason, I think in week 1 could be fill-in targets if you are trying to make up that Rashee Rice suspension part of things. So great question, Ethan. I appreciate that. And hopefully, at least, that was the correct answer.
Yeah, Olave is just as likely to miss 6 games as Rashee Rice.
No, he's not. Don't tell my 60% best ball exposure that Chris Olave can miss 6 games. I do not like that answer. Kevin, concussions are fickle. They go away like the early 2000s
Right.
NFL wanted to say, right?
Right.
Smelling salts and such. Yes. That's entirely fair. I agree with you here. Wow. I mean, we have breezed through these nearly 10 rounds. Of course, thanks to the 1,200 people watching live right now. This is awesome getting to see you guys engaged a little bit. We've talked about the RotoWire draft assistant tool, the RotoWire mock draft, the AC factor. I'm dead serious. Like, I love the degree of variance that happens with these mock drafts because it absolutely prepares for my dumb Wisconsin league mates and what they choose to do. Mm-hmm. And if you do enough of the repetition with the mock draft, it really is useful to have sort of an idea what happens if and when somebody does something dumb. I think our systems are blocked in the scenario that we could try to take Jakori Krosky Merritt. I'm not sure if one of us has a pick left to do so. I don't think I do.
Well, I think Lauren proved we don't need to fill out our roster.
Oh, okay.
I'll get a kicker on the waivers, huh?
Should we do it for the memes? Should we take Krosky Merritt for the memes, if nothing else? Like I'm interested in this concept here, at least a little bit here. I'll type it in. This is reflective of the past week now in the NFFC, one of our title sponsors, but I think also a really competitive league out there with the prize pools being pretty high. It is a reflection of the most current, up-to-date, and also sharp players out there. Over the last week, Krosky Merritt is now a 7th round selection. This is coming from a day 3 pick, and it was in relation to the Brian Robinson trade news
day 3 pick
that happened. But
it's crazy. I'm not getting on this train.
No, I'm only doing it because I think we need to reflect it. This would not be a mock draft without having this conversation.
I'm not getting that. I haven't got him once.
I've been in 14-team leagues, 16, 20, and some of the deeper leagues, you know what? It's great. He's a great pick, and all for it there. In this league, also you can easily swap someone out in this league. There's always going to be someone available that you could probably stream or just add on the waivers. So not super risky either way. It's could be high upside, but I don't know.
My team was woefully thin on people named Bill for a nickname, and we had to fill that quota. So how dare you guys besmirch Bill Jakori Krosky Merritt? Everyone that is watching this live, you better like and subscribe to me personally because I clearly am the Jakori Krosky Merritt. Don't listen to any other content I've done over the past week and a half. And you guys are all foolish for passing up this insane value.
Well, how
Let
about
it
you
be
tell us
known-
about your first round Addison pick that you did earlier this year?
Oh,
After Jordan Addison in the first round, Joe, what were
and
you
to the
thinking?
RotoWire Instagram, the worst pick of
Yeah,
all
come
time.
on. Why would you do that?
Joe drafting Jordan
Terrible
Addison.
pick.
I had to fill the DUI quota of players. No, this is not fair. For those of you who might be new to this, we call it the RotoWire Roulette. We did a RotoWire Draft Symposium in early June, which is how dedicated we are to making sure we get the fantasy ADPs correct. We did your normal drafts, we did the Superflex drafts, and then Lauren, just as a punishment to me, because I keep teasing her fandoms, decided to go ahead and do different styles of draft. Like somebody had to have all rookies. We'd have one of our interns draft all players under 6 foot, which is really funny because there really are no tight ends that fit that criteria. So like we went through the line, all 12 of us, and it was randomized in like we drew a name out of the hat. But I really feel like this was like the Patrick Ewing level draft card where there's a colder one that I just was like drawn to go ahead and done. I don't know if it was Lauren's fault or Kevin's. It was somebody's fault, but I drew you have to get a randomized player of 5. And I don't think people realized how difficult this would be. So the first 3 picks were literally just I said, I want a running back. And then they would randomize every running back in the NFL, or I want a receiver. So Jordan Addison was my first round selection that I was ecstatic for because I knew who he was. My third round selection was Keith Kirkwood, who is no longer on the Saints roster and really wasn't back in June. Like that's the level of craziness that we were doing with this RotoWire Roulette draft. And we'll be talking about it a little bit more on the RotoWire site as well, too, if you want to kind of follow along, or on Instagram, like Lauren talked about.
Yeah, it was fun. I can only draft players
Fun, sure.
smiling in their headshots, and I got in trouble a couple of times. So there's
Just
a few
for the
places.
record, Lamar Jackson not smiling.
I don't know. Maybe we should pull him up right now.
Maybe
Maybe
the
everyone
audience.
should.
Oh, that
This
could
is
be.
my chance to get revenge on you guys.
Yes, maybe you could attach a little poll to this tweet.
Okay, wait. Let's see.
While you're working on that, now again, we clearly don't need to.
Draft kickers and defenses, both.
We don't need to, but I do think it's interesting to discuss again, since we do have some maybe beginners joining us here. Like it's generally, we all know like kickers and defenses should probably be your last 2 picks, or at least pretty late in the draft. I do feel that way very strongly with kickers. I maybe try to get a little bit cute with defenses. I think it's kind of tough to maybe take that 2nd or 3rd or 4th ranked defense, especially if they have a really horrible week 1 matchup. And Denver really stands out to me this year, you guys. Like they were super good last year. There's really nobody that scares me early on, and they are a team I'd be willing to maybe take like 4 rounds before the end.
This is a good entry point to this conversation as somebody that has done now 18 different drafts. I think I have 2 more yet before I'm officially done for draft season. I often don't think about kicker and defense until the very end. I'll admit that I have been probably negligent in my analysis for it. I think our colleague Jerry Dynabedian does a great job of going over the streaming candidates for both kicker and defense on a weekly article that goes up on the rotowire.com site as well. But to your point, Jake Latarski and I talked about this in the Monday podcast. We picked every team's over-under win total, and I do think it's smoothed out this year, that they're still the top. I think it's the Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. Like the teams that were at the top last year, add the 49ers with their cupcake schedule, are going to be there this year. But I don't think there's a 15-win Lions, 14-win Vikings team that emerges. The way the schedules are broken out with the divisions that I think are more or less equal, you can't capitalize on, this team is going to play the AFC South for a 5-week stretch. Go ahead and pick them up when you have a defensive starter the entire year. It might be advantageous to just say, I want the consistently best defense, which means getting sacks, turnovers, and limiting points. And no matter who they're playing, I'm going to go ahead and use them because I know that the waiver wire options will not be consistent on a 2, 3, 4 week basis like we've seen in the past. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I do buy the premise more so this year than past years that the Broncos, conventionally the first overall defense selected, is probably the right call.
Love it, Joe. Okay, so Lauren, you're not a Swiftie, but are you a Madison Beer fan? What would that be called? Like the alcoholics or the Brewers fans?
Way too old for that. But it does seem like he's happier right now because of her. So again, you know what? I'm gonna just roll with the extra motivation these players are getting from various sources of female love.
Definitely going to be a rise in Herbert Kelsey combinations before the end of draft season, y'all.
I mean, I've been taking Dak in like every single league, but it's like this league is not as deep as most of them. So it's like I don't have to scoop that far down. So
For
maybe
sure.
this league I'll try something else.
Are you guys propositioning different team names for Taylor Swift and Madison Beer? Is that what we're looking at?
There might be another article.
I was gonna say, I know we have articles coming up on team names, right?
We've written about 150 articles so far since July 1st, you guys. So again, check them out on RotoWire, and yeah, we're not done.
Good fantasy team name ideas. I have to name all of my teams still, which my goodness.
I'm so boring that all my team names are just Joe because I don't like revealing to folks that I have zero creativity whatsoever. So I like lean into the bit, but the reality is I'm just self-conscious that I can't do funny things with team names at all. So I just say just Joe and be like, oh, I'm so boring. When the reality is I actually just truly am very boring.
Yeah. Yes, you are, Joe. Yes, you're very bland. Okay. So I think we're getting maybe to the point here where let's maybe start we're going to let everybody finish up, and then I'm going to ask you guys maybe if you have a couple sleepers that didn't get picked yet. I'm going to start with this one. Honestly, I was touting the Jaguars earlier, maybe again to my own demise, but Cam Little, that guy's not going to probably go with as the second kicker, but if he's a guy that I would love to get with the last pick in a draft.
I have seen him drafted everywhere and often as one of the top 3 or 4 kicks, only because he made a 70-yarder in the preseason. I can tease people for the Krosky Merritt stuff, but I think he at least has value. Like, what are we doing? We're getting attracted to a preseason kick. Like, this is levels of absurdity that we should not be going into in the fantasy community. That we're like, wow, I've seen a 70-yard kick, that top 5 kicker. It's like, my God, let's just settle down. I understand the bad guy, Doug Peterson, is gone, but we don't have complete confidence that Sunshine Trevor Lawrence is actually be able to dictate an offense effectively to warrant Cam Little actually being able to score points. So I don't know how 2 people passed up on the best kicker that actually will make 70-yard kicks in Brandon Aubrey, but thank you, I guess, for that value.
Okay.
Lauren, do you have a sleeper or 2 left out there that's on the board? I'm going to leave this up for a minute just so people.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe a sleeper for this league, but like Jerome Ford, I think is a great later pick right now, where he's going to be number 1 for Cleveland at least for a little bit potentially. So I think if you can get him really late, especially in the deeper leagues, he's a good pick. Nick Chubb, not on the Browns anymore, but with Houston now, at least the first 4 weeks. With Mixon out, he'll have a chance to be number 1 over there, and it's a little risky. I hope he does really well. It was really sad to see him go down a couple years ago, but he's got that dog in him. He's really, really good. So I hope
legendary Instagram reel following that poor unfortunate injury to our boy Nick. I'm with you on him too. I mean, I'm generally against drafting older players. I mean, as we all are. But he and Javonte Williams they're 2 guys that it's kind of like, they suck? They might, but at the same time, like, there's not a lot behind them that I'm scared of, and those could be 2 relatively decent offenses.
I'll add Chris Rodriguez. I did it for the memes with Krosky Merritt in the 9th round, but I actually think for cost, Chris Rodriguez, Commander's backfield representative, is going to be the short yardage guy, the red zone guy, and also will get enough between the 20s and between tackle carries that he is the one for a 6 or 7 round difference of price tag as opposed to JCM. Again, Jakori Krosky Merritt that I would rather have of the Commander's backfield. And don't sleep on Jalen Coker. I mean, we could do some team names with that one, but now with the Adam Thielen trade to the Vikings, that opens up Jalen Coker to be relevant in deeper leagues as a slot target for the Panthers. If you like the Panthers this year, it's not because of McMillan, it's not because of Xavier Legette, it's because Jalen Coker is going to help unlock that offense in the same way Adam Thielen did last year when he returned from that hamstring injury. So I like Jalen Coker, especially as like a last round flyer or so in full point PPR formats.
And then you said Keenan Allen is on all your teams, right?
Yes, on all the retired and aging veteran teams that are out there. I actually saw that the flag football team had like Joe Horn's like cousin or something on it. That's probably where Keenan Allen's going to be to next year, is the competing American flag football team.
U40, baby.
There you
go.
Yes.
All right, touche. Oh.
All right, guys. Well, we could probably get a screenshot of this draft up on X in case anybody else would like to check it out. So let's zoom out to our beautiful faces here one more time.
Anyone, any questions you have? Last minute, last chance. Drop a question here. We got a few smart people over here to answer for
Yes,
you.
we'd love to answer some specific ones. In the meantime, well, we touched on Rashid, we touched on Mixon, we touched on the Commanders. So I guess, Joe, do you have any final thoughts for the community out here?
As much as I'm doing it for the memes, I'm not drafting Jakori Krosky Merritt at cost again as the 7th round in the NFFC. It is not just to fill the Bill nickname quota on your team. I don't think he's going to do anything more relevant with Chris Rodriguez and Austin Eckler, and I think people are wrong with that one. Other sleeper, I have been remiss not to mention this at some point. This has been my guy for a full month now. Mason Taylor, tight end for the Jets. There was some steam about him being a late first-round selection. The Eagles end up trading for Jahad Campbell, but I think if they hadn't, he would have been the heir apparent to Dallas Goedert as the last first-round pick. Either way, son of Jason Taylor, I think the Jets' offense needs a second target. It's Garrett Wilson, and then what? If you don't think the Jets' offense is very good, I don't blame you. But in today's NFL, there has to be at least 2 pass catchers, and Mason Taylor has the draft capital and also was productive in college in that capacity. So he's one of my favorite late-round selections. You can kind of get like as a tight end 20 that I wouldn't mind starting week 1.
All right, Lauren, anything left to dispel to the people here?
I mean, it's going to be a really fun draft weekend. Definitely use RotoWire if you can. If you're not sure of who to pick, I promise. I'm not just saying this because we all work there. We all use the same tools, guys. We all like to win fantasy. We're very obsessed with it. We're on 20 leagues. So these tools really are legit. Like we help, back them with everything we do with our colleagues. They're really, really smart over here. So check out, our Draft Kit app. Check out our Draft Kit in general with the tools, our cheat sheets, rankings, Draft Assistant, sync up your league with my leagues. All of it's really, really great, good stuff. So there's tons of information there that can help.
Fantastic, y'all. All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So thank you so much to everybody who joined this evening, and best of luck with your fantasy seasons.
All right. See ya.